Hi, my name is Daniel Kohlsdorf, and I will present our work on autoencoders for audible Dolphin Communication. For multiple years, we are in a collaboration with the Wild Dolphin Project. Marine mammalogists of the Wild Dolphin Project record audio and video using underwater cameras and hydrophones during encounters with Atlantic spotted dolphins in the Bahamas. Their data consists of more than 30 years of such field recordings. One of their goals is to correlate audio dolphin signals with the observed behavior in the field. However, manual search for such patterns is cumbersome. So our goal is to build unsupervised machine learning models to support their search for patterns in their audio files. Three main categories of audible dolphin communication are dolphin whistles, echolocation, and burst pulses. Here you see three spectrograms of examples of the signal types for all three categories. Dolphin whistles are a single oscillator sound that is shown as a continuous line in the spectrogram. One known usage of whistles by dolphins is to name each other. Echolocation, as the name suggests, is used for localization by emitting a series of clicks shown as bars in the spectrogram. Lastly, the burst pulse is a dense package of clicks often observed during group synchronization. So, let's listen to some of these sounds. For example, a whistle, echolocation, and a burst pulse. So you just get some idea of how this might sound in reality. In the past, we used manual feature extraction such as whistle tracers and more traditional models such as hidden Markov models to find patterns in small sets of data. However, in the following we will present a deep neural network that learns the features on the spectrogram and the short-term temporal structure jointly. Our neural network consists of two main parts, an encoder and a decoder. The encoder takes a spectrogram snippet as an input and outputs a single embedding vector that captures the features for the entire snippet. The decoder takes an embedding vector as an input and aims to reconstruct the entire snippet. In other words, the embedding vector should capture all information necessary to reconstruct a dolphin signal. The first layer in the encoder is a convolutional layer that is followed by a max pooling operation across all frequencies. We hope to learn localized filters that capture small parts of dolphin signal, such as upsweeps and downsweeps. Since dolphins are known to shift their communication to other bands in the spectrogram, we decided to only keep the maximum response of each filter at each frequency. So it is important that there is an upsweep, but not in which frequency band it occurred. After the convolutional layer, we added a stack of long short-term memory layers that capture the temporal progression of a dolphin signal. The output is the previously mentioned embedding vector. The decoder is basically the reverse of the encoder. After successful training, the encoder is the only thing we need to extract our features. In order to cluster a file containing dolphin signals, we shift a sliding window across the spectrogram and encode the spectrogram windows using the previously trained encoder. The resulting embeddings can be clustered by a standard algorithm such as k-means. In order to build a classifier for specific audio signals in dolphin communication, or to distinguish signal from underwater background, we add a classifier on top of the embedding vector. The rest of the pipeline stays exactly the same as in the clustering pipeline. Together with the researchers from the Wild Dolphin Project, we collected 4 datasets. An unlabeled dataset of 24 minutes of audio containing only dolphin signals. A small signal detection dataset containing examples of dolphin signals and stereotypical background noise, as well as a small signal type classification dataset, which contains examples of burst pulses, whistles, echolocations, and background noise. The last dataset contains 16 hours of continuous field recordings. In our experiments, we learn our feature extractor first. We use the unsupervised dataset containing only dolphin signals. In order to evaluate if our autoencoder picks up on what we expect to see in a spectrogram of dolphin signals, we visualize some convolutional filters in the first layer. As we can see, we find some filters that look like up or down sweeps. Furthermore, we find filters with multiple lines stacked, which could indicate burst pulses. We also plotted some reconstructions. In the right image, we can see that the decoder successfully reconstructs whistle parts and echolocation. However, the burst pulses are often blurry, which could indicate a non-successful reconstruction. In order to show that our filters can be used for transfer learning, we use a purposefully small dataset for signal detection using the pre-trained weights of the embedding model. In that way, we keep the features learned from the unsupervised dataset. Then we stack a 3-layer neural net on top of the embedder, including batch normalization. We split our dataset into a 60% training and a 40% testing dataset. As we can see, we achieve a 96% accuracy in our experiments. In another experiment, we aim to train a model to distinguish between the 3 sound type categories, whistles, echolocation, and burst pulses, as well as background noise. As in the previous experiment, we reuse the learned features and split the dataset into 60% training and 40% testing. We also stack 3 layers on top of the feature extractor again. As we can see, most errors happen between burst pulses, echolocation, and background noise. One explanation is that burst pulses are dense packages of clicks, so the confusion might stem from the fact that in some cases the two are very similar. The confusion with the background noise can stem from the similarity of some animal sounds such as shrimp clicks with dolphin clicks. In our last experiment, we used the longer 16-hour dataset. Our goal is to unsupervisedly extract patterns from the audio files. We first used the sliding window approach to embed the whole dataset. We then used the signal classifier to remove all the embeddings belonging to noise. In order to inspect our embeddings, we first project our vectors onto a 2D plane using t-SNE. We also cluster our data using k-means. In the image on the right, we took a few screenshots of our t-SNE embeddings. The colored boxes indicate the cluster assignment of the instances. As one can see, the 3 types of signals are cleanly grouped and similar signals seem to be assigned to the same cluster. If we zoom out, we see that most sounds group into closely packed clusters naturally, and that there are clear boundaries between groups. We also inspect the clusters visually in a different way. We export each cluster into a single file with each instance being separated by noise. We then search for clusters that include silence, which could indicate problems with the signal detector. We also note how many clusters are of the same type or mixed type, meaning that echo, location, burst, and whistles are in a single file. We found 14 clusters containing only noise, resulting in an 86% accuracy for the silence detector. We also found that there are 4 files left that include examples of whistles, burst, and echolocation at the same time. In the image, you can see some of the clusters we investigated. The signals look similar to each other, and we could cluster them even with variation in frequency. Our current model uses sliding windows and then embeds each window using our neural network. We then treat each of the vectors individually. However, that means that we might split a continuing whistle or a burst pulse if it is longer than our window. We are currently working on clustering sequences of embedding vectors. Basically, we extract continuing regions of dolphin sounds that are bound by background noise. We then cluster these regions using hierarchical clustering under dynamic time warping distance. In that way, we hope to cluster longer sequences such as complete whistles of varying lengths. We also work on several experiments in which we use the clusters found in audio files and correlate their occurrence with observed dolphin behavior, such as feeding, nursing, or aggression. In the future, those results might point marine mammalologists to insights in how dolphin communication varies in several behavior contexts. In this talk, we gave a brief introduction into audio dolphin communication and presented a deep autoencoder for unsupervised feature learning for audio dolphin signals. In a series of experiments, we showed the usefulness of our features in multiple tasks, including clustering, signal detection, and the classification of dolphin signal types. We also provided an outlook for future improvements to our model, as well as novel experiments researching the link between dolphin communication and dolphin behavior. Hey, thanks for taking the time to listen to our talk. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to your questions.